Hey folks, welcome back to the Transplant Helper again today. My name is Jim Burrell, and today we're talking very briefly about medication management, particularly several different things you can do to make sure you never ever miss a dose of medication. Because as I like to preach over and over, I've said this in many videos, you need to always be taking your medication on time, every time, and in the right way. Now, obviously, on time is what it is. Every time is what it is, but in the right way means that you need to really be paying attention to those dosages, particularly when you go in for a new prescription refill, because sometimes, just rarely, but sometimes there are a few substitutes that have to be made. In that case, they may give you a 1 milligram pill instead of a 5 milligram, intending on you take 5 at a time and vice versa, that sort of thing. But you know what I'm talking about on that. But to jump right into this, basically the main three things you can do to make sure you never miss a dose comes down to the very simple things in life. And that is, number one, I would personally suggest, and I'm hesitant in doing this, but I would personally suggest using a pill box of some sort. Now, in the beginning, I would argue many different ways. So in the beginning, I used bottles, and then a little bit later, I went on to bags, and then finally I made it to the box. It's kind of the three stages that I went through. And there are a lot of things that can be beneficial for each of those. For example, for the bottles, one of the things that I was always really glad of is when I opened those bottles every single day and took out my doses as needed, I could literally look in the bottle and I learned those pills. I saw the label, saw what the pills looked like. I reached in the bottle, got those out. And then in addition to that, if there was anything that was going to be coming up short, maybe I was going to be, running out very soon, I would constantly be reminded of that because I would be taking out those bottles 3 times a day. So that's 3 opportunities times 7. That's 21 opportunities a week, basically, to go ahead and get those medications reordered if need be. But I have since finally gotten down, some of you suggested this, and I finally gotten down to where I need and I love to use a pill box. And my favorite one is by far this little baggie right here. I've reviewed it on the program before. I've showed it to you. The main reason I enjoyed this one right here, obviously it's got, I may have them out of order right now, but got all 7 days there. It's both labeled on the ends as well as when you pull them out, it is labeled on the side right there. I think this one says Thursday. But what I really like about this one is instead of having what I call the flippy doors, I just dropped half of them, put the rest of them over there. But instead of having what I call the flippy doors, this has a slide mechanism. I don't know if I can really do this, but it has a slide mechanism. You can operate with one hand and slide back and forth. And so say, for example, I'm taking just the morning dose. I slide for morning. I can pop it right out of there, drink my water. If I'm taking the midday dose, which would come up next, this one will be empty by then. Take my midday dose. Of course, you got your evening and your bedtime dose, and you can slide either direction to get to those. But unlike the flippy doors, which a lot of times pop open on you, and, you drop them in a bag or try to put them away in your pocket to carry them with you, maybe if you're going to be out and about during the day, these do not pop open. This does not come open, even the slide mechanism. It's easy enough to do, as I say, even one-handed. Having trouble one-handed this morning, I guess, but it's easy enough to do even one-handed, but they just don't slide. They don't pop open, on accident. So that's a great benefit. I really enjoy the pill boxes now because as I've, recovered from transplant over the last 9.5, almost 10 years, as I've gotten stronger, I'm able to do more and I'm out and about a lot. So a lot of times I'm grabbing these to go. But in addition to that, as my life has gotten busier, if that's a word, you can do busier. As I've gotten busier, I've also gotten more forgetful. You get tied up, you're running the kids around like I am to school and picking them up and going to get groceries and whatever else I'm involved in during the week, I can kind of lose track. And a lot of times I'll be out and about and I'll think, man, did I even take my medicine today? Have I even taken my medicine this morning? And I can find out because I can pull out that particular day's medication box. I can look at it, and if it's empty, I took it. If it's not, I didn't. It's that simple. And of course, if I haven't, I've got to make a judgment then on whether or not it's too late to take it or I should just wait till the next dose. Not going to discuss that here today much, but I can make that choice. And so it's really beneficial for the forgetful person like I am. I had 2 strokes prior to transplant. Of course, the heart transplant itself, I've got fog brain and all that, like maybe some of you do, which you can comment below if you deal with anything like that. But I do forget doses from now to then. How do I say that? I do forget doses from time to time. There we go. And I can always check with that pill box. So that's the pill box. I'll link it in the description below, the one that I recommend by far and away, I can't tell you the number of people that I've shown this to, and they immediately go out and get it. It's about $13, $14, depending on the time, but it's an Amazon link, but you can check that out. Now, number two, and not only is it beneficial to have a pill box, number two, it's also very beneficial to have some sort of an app on your phone, a MedMinder app. Now, in most cases, if you use kind of a mainstream pharmacy, something like CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid, I don't know the ones in your area, but if you use kind of a mainstream pharmacy, a lot of times in the app where you might go to reorder medications or to check the status or, whatever, they've already got a timer or they've got a scheduler that you can set up in there, and those work really well. Otherwise, you go to the app store of your device. I happen to use an iPhone, so it's the app, the app store. But you go to Google Play Store or whatever on your Androids, and you can easily find apps that are pill minder apps, and they'll oftentimes be multi-use. They'll identify pills. They can just go around and tell you about what the pills are used for, that sort of thing. And then they have that function in there. We can set up times and dates and calendars. And if there's a medication, maybe like I have taken in the past, I don't now, but where you take those like every other day at noon or whatever, that can get fairly confusing, and you can set all that up. It takes just a little bit to do that, but a lot of the newer apps, particularly when you go into that app, it's going to identify the medication really quickly. It's obviously going to be able to pre-fill the milligrams and such, and some of them even ask, are you taking every 12 hours, every 6 hours? You just put that in, and it kind of figures all that out for you. So it can be really, really handy to do that. So that's something I would suggest. Also, in addition to that, I would say number three, get a good relationship with your pharmacy. And I know a lot of us are forced, basically, and I don't like it. Thankfully, I'm not. I jump through a lot of hoops to not be. But to use a mail order pharmacy, I don't like those. They're just messed up in most cases. But if you can use a more local pharmacy, it may be a chain, but even a local pharmacy where you can get to know those people behind the desk, know those techs, know those pharmacists by name, get to know them. They can really be a tremendous help as far as helping you to manage that medication and making sure that things like those auto refills, which you could obviously have done in one of those apps earlier as well, but make sure there's auto refills that are set up. If they get friendly with you, they're going to be more likely to pick up the phone, call the doctor to get you a new prescription. They're going to go a long way to help you out. So build a relationship with your local pharmacist, and I think you're going to do very well. With that being said, this is all I got for today. So until next time, stay stronger, my friend.